Oh. Yeah.
The birds are falling. I know, right?
Moving into some toroidal flows, nice big toroidal flows, expanding your aura to receive heightened consciousness. Beginning to involute, bringing your mind to your body. Allowing the gravity of your body to draw your awareness inwards. And consciously choosing to change the direction. I am moving my body. I am choosing to do this. And I am aware of what I am doing. Doing both directions. One going up, one going down. As they do. The toroid flowing in both directions quite magically at the same time. Moving beyond physical space to the counter space with our awareness, reversing that direction. Doing things physically that have an effect in the non-physical. Bringing witness consciousness to be aware of what's going on in the non-physical, your energetic body, etheric body. As well as affecting the state of your soul. And finishing off with whatever direction feels the most called for, the balance and ground and center. And bringing the physical movement to a halt, but continue moving etherically, using the intention of your mind to continue the flow. Sort of like an after echo. Staying present to it with your awareness. If your mind wanders off, just bring it back to that flow that you created. Doing it on that layer that's just above the physical layer. Moving things etherically. Moving into some pelvic rotations. Loosening the hips. This is awakening energy and the sea of chi, the belly, where we store chronic energy. It's where we drew in energy when we're embryos in the womb through the umbilical cord, even through the navel area. So the navel area is still an area that absorbs and holds energy. We know physically Food goes there, but also etherically, chronically. Energy goes there. Reverse that direction. Awaken this area. Provide energy for what's coming next. I'll do it as a lemniscate, a figure 8, one direction. Trying to maintain an outward gaze in front of you. Reversing that direction. Oh, it's releasing stress and tension, feeling self-grounding into the earth, as well as levity. This is considered the center of gravity down here, as you know, but we also have this center of levity up here. So a little bit of tapping up here, climb a thumb to awaken the center of levity, upliftment. Can still maintain a little bit of this rocking motion, which awakens this layer next to the physical, the etheric layer, the body of levity. Dropping that and just doing some plumb bobbing. Rotate in different directions. Remove the physical column, which awakens this central channel of the Sushumna, but down that is a central thread known as the Bertrolli. This information highway. Moving up and down simultaneously between the root and the brain. And now we're going to move into the Rishi isometrics. So raising the arms up on the sides, palms together, up on the toes, inhaling through the nose. Don't whack anybody. Holding. Tightening all the muscles, including Dr. Sphincter. And exhaling through pursed lips back down onto flat feet. Again, inhaling up. Nice and tight. Get that height. And releasing again. Pursed lips lets the air out, but retains the prana in the body. One more time with the palms together. Holding. Inner smile, outer smile. Little snip and release. Same thing, only now with the backs of the palms. Everything goes better with a smile. Don't smile, Tracy. And exhale. Again. And release. Once more. Good. Widening the stance. Going to do the sideways bend. Inhaling the arms up. Lock the thumbs, bending to the right to stretch your left. Exhaling. Keep your ears between your elbows. And inhale up. Pursed lips down. A little bit further down. And up. And go for your deepest dive this time. Hold a little longer and up. Switch the thumbs, switch the sides. Down to the left, stretch out the right. Feel that flexibility coming into your spine, information highway. Up. And down again. And now go for your deepest dive. And up. Forward bend, left foot forward. Arms behind the back with locked thumbs. And right away into the forward bend. Pulling the arms up, chin up, eyes up. Exhale. Inhale up. All the way up. Tuck that chin in, be vertical. And then go into the horizontal. Stretch it even more. Inhale up. And once more, really emptying those lungs. And when you think you're empty, push it a little bit more. And up. Immediately switch the feet, switch the thumbs, and back down on the next breath. Feel how good it feels. Pull a little harder with those thumbs at the back. Chin up, eyes up. Stretch those eye muscles. Good for your eyes. And one more big one. Hand up. Going right into the backward bend. Palms together. Dropping the head back with the inhale. Drop the shoulders. Stretch that spine. And then exhale forward. The flat back. Ears between the elbows. Knees slightly bent. Stick that butt out so you get a nice table back. And inhale up. Again, drop back. Feel that compression on the spine. Don't hurt yourself, but some compression. Feel things heating up. It's good. That's burning off the stagnant prana. Now up one more time. Reforging your energy fields. Building a subtle anatomy. And exhaling down. Holding that flat back. Straight neck. Face parallel to the floor. And then dropping down into ragdoll. Enjoying a little break for a moment. Shake out the arms, shake out the head and neck. And some blood into that brain. Feel yourself nice and grounded. You can rock on your feet. Feel yourself grounded between the heels and the balls of your feet. And then catch that sense of levity, that power of the awakened etheric body to lift the heavy gravity body back up into this wonderful gift of verticality. palms out and upwards. Take a moment to be in this power pose. And then the last move, last ratio isometrics, the spinal twist. Twisting to the right hand down, left hand up. So far you can stretch around like you're auditioning for exercise part 4. Inhaling back to the center. Twisting to the left. Twist that head all the way around. The hips, like you're wringing out a sponge. And inhaling to the center again. Right hand down to Shakti, left hand up to Shiva. Exhaling. Inhale to the center. Twisting to the left. Left hand down to Shakti, right hand up to Shiva. Bring it out. Inhale to the center. Let's go for one more. Exhaling to the right. At the center. Exhale to left. And inhale to center. And just holding the palms upward in this magnetic, receptive gesture. Feel yourself drawing in fresh energy. Getting grounded on the earth. While your head is in the cosmos. Now we're going to move into the cleansing breath. So finding a place where you can go and sit on your knees. Did this last week. And do 7 by 7. Means we're going to do 7 cycles of basically 7 out breaths, starting in the seated position. Everybody, you weren't here, but so I'll do it once. Optionally, you can put your hands as fists or flat, just around the diaphragm. You want to be able to push air out of your lungs. I personally don't like trying to push air out of my lungs with my hands, but that's optional in the book. I like to have them on the ground. I find this a really nice grounding exercise. And it's just a matter of snapping the diaphragm 6 or 7 times as you lean forward and ultimately putting your forehead down on the earth, something like this. So let's do the posture preparation for meditation. As you see in Samuel Sagan's work, a lot of emphasis on verticality. So let's go out of verticality so that we can rediscover verticality. In the pelvic tilt, down as far as you want. It can just be a little snap, or it can be a full tilt down. Enjoy the slow journey back up to verticality, like recapitulating the whole process of evolution. As creepy crawlers coming out of the swampiverse into the great verticality of humanness, rounding the shoulders up and back, open the heart zone, and a chin tuck, and a little bit of plumb bobbing to again discover that golden thread that connects the earth with the cosmos running through us. How special that is. And to help accentuate that connection, let's do a little bit of Dr. Sphincter salutations, some pulsing of the anal muscles and the PC muscles, even those cervical muscles for those of you who are sporting a cervix in this incarnation. Enjoy. Lucky you. Yes, we're sending energy up the spine to the brain, sending cerebral spinal fluid up the spine, and we're sending Shakti energy up the Sushumna, central channel, to awaken those psychic centers in the brain, to help our evolutionary process as we emerge in the swampiverse, and to help us emerge in the swampiverse more, we have the wonderful Elena here to guide us.
We'll continue with preparation for opening up microcosmic orbit, and we'll start with the Kundalini Yoga chakra aligning, working on the clipping points. So let's open up the space for Kundalini Yoga practice with Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. We'll just do it once. Okay, so connect palms together, bring them to the heart center. Take a deep inhale to start. Om. Relax your arms, relax your shoulders, stiff arms. Keep focusing on the breath. And let's start with gentle spinal flexion. Inhaling, sending chest forward, exhaling back, rocking on the seat bones. Either you're sitting on the chair or you can be seated and cross-legged or even on your knees like that to your spine. So flexing the spine. Chin stays parallel to the ground. Inhale forward, exhale back. We're working on the lower back, the main point, remember in the middle of your lumbar spine, the door of life, starting to activate, we already were talking about that, the sea of energy point, the navel. So on the exhale, you can start drawing it in gently toward the spine, while letting it out. Feel the seat bones rocking, well, especially if you're on the ground or in the chair. Activating the base of the spine, the root chakra. Right, and come back to the center, straight. Take a deep inhale. Suspend the breath, applying Mula Bandh or root lock. So contracting perineum, sex organs, and rector. Hold. Bring your chin slightly in. Roll the eyes up to the point between the eyebrows. Press up with the tongue. Exhale, relax, allow the energy melt down the front of the body. Remember the yin channel. So relaxing into it. And allow the breath to go all the way down in your perineum, all the way to the bottom. Let's stay here for a couple more deep breaths. Relaxing. Noticing if there are any tension in the front or in your spine. Let's continue with circling the spine. Whatever way you want to start. Clockwise or counterclockwise. Inhale forward, exhale back. Leading with the chest. Imagine there's a cylinder and you try to touch the surface of the cylinder with your ribcage.
Mm.
And with this one, you can tell we're still engaging, of course, the lumbar spine, but also getting into the T11 and solar plexus, right? Those 2 points. And even the heart center. Let's switch direction. Continue, same breath. Inhale forward, exhale back. Coming back to the center, deep inhale. Suspending the breath, root lock, chin lock, rolling the eyes to the point between the eyebrows, pressing up with the tongue, expanding. Exhale, relax, and then allow the energy to melt down. Let's continue with couple twists. So let's bring arms over the head, palms together. I'm gonna inhale left, exhale right. Inhale left, exhale right. You can do it slow, or you can find the rhythm and go a little bit faster. Engage your core. So we're using this navel point. On the exhale, drawing it in, inhale, let it out. Make sure your spine is comfortable and straight. No rounding. If you need to stand up for this one to make sure the spine is straight, that's fine. Again, this one, unlocking the rib cage, unlocking the diaphragm. So opening up that solar plexus, T11, heart center. Inhale, center, reach up. Elongate the spine as much as you can. Keep grounding through the sit bones and reaching up through the top of the head, through the fingertips. Root lock, chin lock, eyes and tongue. And exhale, relax. Slowly bring the arms down and allow the energy to move. Melt all the way down, resting at the base of the perineum. And take a moment here. Relaxing, absorbing, connecting with a witness consciousness. Observing your body, your mind, your most subtle energies. Let's continue with unlocking the heart center. I'm gonna bring the arms together, elbows up. Make sure we have space. On the inhale, we're gonna open. So elbows parallel or parallel to the ground. Exhale, we're gonna almost like we're gonna clap, but we're not gonna clap. Inhale, exhale. And yes, I'm looking at the thoracic spine. Lots of us are stuck in that area, right behind the heart or the sternum, heart center, or T4, T5. And inhale, open, suspend, perfect the posture, root lock, chin lock, roll the eyes, press up with the tongue, opening the chest, spine straight, long. And exhale when you need to exhale, relax your eyes, take a moment. Relax, observe. Let's unlock our neck, throat chakra, and we've got the jade pillow and the C7 ring. So we're gonna inhale, look over left shoulder, exhale, look over your right shoulder. Feel free to do it slow if your body is telling you to go slower. That's totally optional. Continue with gentle neck circles, inhaling up and back, exhaling forward and down, still working on that cervical spine and the throat chakra. To which direction of the circle? Coming back to the center, and now let's draw a U shape with the chin. Exhaling up, exhaling down, so going side to side, this stretching the front muscles. Because often that's what's actually tight, because we constantly look down on our devices or books. Come back to the center, take a deep inhale, suspending the breath, root lock, chin lock, roll the eyes, curl the tongue, hold. And exhale. Great, let's awaken the Ajna chakra by wiggling forehead like we're surprised. You can keep the eyes closed or you can keep them open and laugh. And that look pretty entertaining. It's up to you. Yeah. Lots of surprised people in this room. Awakening the form between the eyebrows. You can start feeling the whole skin on the head. It's moving, bringing fresh blood into your brain. And that spinal fluid. Deep inhale. Suspend. Root lock, chin lock, roll the eyes. So focus on that point between the eyebrows. Press up with the tongue. So you can tell that all actually activate that pituitary gland. And exhale when you need to exhale. And remember, we did this one last time to activate the crown chakra. So right hand over the left, and they're kind of hovering over the top of the head, and we're just gonna gently pull up and then relax down. Bending the elbows. You might feel the tingling, or just notice what you feel there in your round chakra, Sahasrara. Connection to the divine guidance. One of them, and through the heart, of course. Right. Let's keep the arms up, just bring them 60-degree, fingers together, palms facing kind of towards each other. And we'll do the breath of fire. Remember the breath of fire, right? On the exhale, throw that navel in, inhale, let it out. Keep going. So activating the navel center, the sea of energy, and the door of life. So feel them kind of going towards each other, each exhale. So we're energizing that mean man line, remember? You can do it. Okay, inhale, reach up, reach up, reach up. Suspend the breath, root lock, chin lock, roll the eyes, roll the tongue. Elongate the spine, extend the elbows as much as you can. Exhale, relax, and bring the arms down. Take a moment. Feeling the heat, feeling the energy. Now let's continue focusing on the breath. Now we're going to activate the yin channel, the ren channel, the front of the body. So start focusing on your nostrils, softening, relaxing, and just noticing what's happening. Attention versus intention. Or another way, it's a Wu Wei meditation. Doing nothing, just observing. Bring attention to the sinuses. And now to the throat area. Observing that space from within. Just noticing without trying to fix anything. Bring attention to the chest area behind the sternum. With your loving eye, just notice, observe if there is any tension or no. Allowing everything, pushing against nothing. Bring attention to the ribs. Notice how they move in with your breath. Bring attention to the lower belly. Now observe this channel all together from the nostrils all the way to the lower belly. And bring the attention to the perineum. No action yet, just relaxing and feeling if the energy is anchoring down in your perineum. Now let's start harvesting that yang spark, Jin Chi. So contracting the perineum, but slightly locking, pulling it up on the inhale, relaxing on the exhale. If you're feeling the warmth, we're gonna continue with mean line. The mean line, remember the navel point, and at the back the Tower of Life. So if you draw that line there, that plucking from perineum goes all the way up to that line. And that's how we find in that location of our lower dantian. And stay with it. Keep your mind there. Notice if it's building already, if you can feel the energy there. We're gonna collect the chi from the yellow line, from the solar plexus, and the line goes into T11 right behind the solar plexus. So again, you plug in the perineum, the energy goes up all the way to the yellow line, collecting the chi, and on the exhale, relax. Let's do it several times. So inhale, connecting that energy from perineum all the way to the yellow line. Exhale, relax. Bring the hands under your ribs. I'm just gonna focus on that lower dantian. Notice if it starts kind of turning, if that energy you created. So eventually it's naturally will start kind of turning inside your belly. And you don't have to push anything, just be present with it. We're already doing all the steps, so if it's ready to start working there, it will. Now inhale, bring the arms up. And exhale, bring the hands in front of the face, moving the energy down, collecting it all in your navel center. And we're gonna ground it here. Remember, 36 times clockwise for men, 36 times counterclockwise for women, and then 24 the other way around. Got it? So start clockwise 36 times, and then you're gonna go 24 the other direction. Women start counterclockwise 36 times, and then 24 clockwise. You guys are getting it so fast. Like Chia was explaining it like every time. It took a while to try it. Yes.
Yeah.
How are you guys feeling? Did anybody start feeling the lower dantian started tuning? Or is energy collecting there? Energy at the middle point? Yes, no?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay,
A lot more solid there. A lot more
right, it becomes
density.
more dense.
Dense,
Great
yeah.
point. Yeah, so the energy just, yeah, it's very subtle difference. So that's why, like, yeah, it might take some time just even to become aware of what's going on. But yes, it becomes more dense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Feel like I got a Buddha belly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm okay, so
Got
I'm feeling very full. I'm wondering if this helps when you're hungry.
yeah, of course. That's the energy you get. Yeah, yeah. The chi, you can get it from the air and you can like do the spark, circulate, and here you go. You can become breatharian.
save on your food bills.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what we like. It's fine, like fine, but we also are learning how to increase that energy without getting extra. But especially, okay, food we can always get, hopefully, but we don't want to use that gene yin chi, right? Because yin chi, we want to save it as much as we can because that's how we stay young and healthy. That's how we rebuild in our bodies. So if we learn how to use the yang part from the yin, so that's how we circulate it, multiply it without using the yin base, right? Staying young and healthy forever, not forever, but
You wouldn't realize Alana's actually 75 years old.
yeah, 175. But really, I'm 45. Okay, almost. Almost. Not yet.
Can I
44.
ask, what's the significance of the 36 and 24?
I don't know. They do go in Tao. They like 3 and 9s a lot, and I think it's like 36. It's like also 9. 24. I guess it's 6. So they like 3, 6, 9.
Right,
It's like
okay.
they're significant numbers.
Mhm.
So you can do it also 9 times if you don't have time. Really, you can do 9 times each way.
Mhm.
But he suggested 34. So I think it's related to 3, 6, 9.
Gotcha.
So 36, 24. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an activation. So, I mean, that's the way I see it. You 36 to activate bringing in, but then you want to do the opposite, but not completely unwind what you brought in. So it's you only do it 2/3.
It's very specific. That's why I was just curious.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
geometry is an important part of our spiritual work.
Mm-hmm. Well, next time I think we'll start to actually on the weekend we'll start to bring it to the whole microcosmic orbit. But for that, it's important that you feel the activation in the lower dantian. You don't want to do it on the empty lower dantian, so to say, right? Yeah.
Great, thank you, Elena. Wonderful. Yeah, to just stay with our opening set here and move into the subject of meditation, because on the weekend we're going to have time to do some longer meditation sits. You had a handout from last week, an excerpt from chapter 3 of Awakening the Third Eye. And yeah, so we're going to just sample a bit of this evening, but wanted to bring a bit of the head stuff to it. So as we go into it, we have a bit of a grasp with our head, what we're doing, why we're doing. So we're not just kind of floating around in some nebulous space, but working with the anatomy, the subtle anatomy, the energetic anatomy that we have. And so, yeah, this is called Awakening the Third Eye. How cool is that? Has anybody done the Awakening the Third Eye weekend when it was offered here in Toronto? Did you ever do the Awakening the Third Eye?
I don't think so.
Yeah? Okay. So, what is the third eye? He's saying it's really two things. First of all, it's a gate. It's a gateway. This third eye, which is an energetic structure, has, a physical aspect to it, but we're really talking about something that's not physical. We've got two physical eyes, but we've got this third eye that opens the space of consciousness. And there's a lot of talk about this in the news these days. Matter of fact, I was reading the article about the concerns, this one of the executives of Google retired, or not retired, he quit his job, he resigned so that he could warn the world about this thing that he created back in 2012. He's called the godfather of AI. And I saw another article on the same website saying that scientists should be studying consciousness. And this is what we're talking about here, is entering in to the space of consciousness and inner worlds through the use of this third eye. And we're already there. I'm going to get into that in a moment, but we're already there. We experience dreams and our inner lights. This is already exploring consciousness. And he also says, secondly, that the third eye is the main organ that acts as a switch, a vital switch to activate the body of energy. And when he's talking about the body of energy, he's talking about the etheric body, right? We've got the physical body and the etheric body. The etheric body is the body of energy. And this third eye is like a switch, right? Turning on a switch, and it awakens this body of energy. And with that, allows us to work with higher frequencies than we would normally work with just in our, unswitched state, which is where most people are at. And with the switch, it's going to activate this body of energy where there's circulations that can take place. And have this page from Jewel Lotus showing the circulations, or what's known in the yogic tradition as the nadis. In the Chinese Taoist tradition, they're known as the meridians. Oh, what did you say, Ruben?
Dantians?
Dantians?
Yeah.
We're connected to the Dantian system. Yeah, the meridians circulate between the Dantians. Where'd that come from?
Happens to have it in my bag.
Just so happened to show, the problem with that chart and traditional Chinese medicine, which is not really traditional, it's actually the repackaged ancient Chinese medical system. Was repackaged by Mao Zedong. You notice the difference?
There's no anatomy.
No, the nadis go beyond the body.
There's nothing external.
Right. The dumbed down Chinese system shows that these lines of energy stop at the perimeter of your skin, whereas this diagram shows that it connects us to what's outside of us. There's this constant energy exchange taking place between ourselves and what's around us. We know that, when we eat, we're taking something external in. When we drink, we're taking something external in. We eliminate it back out. Same with the breath, in, out. Same with energy. We're in connection with this. And so activating this vital switch of the third eye turns on the body and the circulations so that we can really be more masterful in our relationship with the external world and not be impacted negatively. He actually goes on to say that Samuel Sagan says in the future that he sees there'll be some sort of third eye therapies that'll be developed working with this main organ of energy to help correct different physical and emotional disorders. Yes. I've experienced that of myself and other people, and see that if people learn to turn on the switch and beef up, pardon the expression, fatten up their energy body, they're not going to be so negatively impacted by what's around them. Like people that call themselves empaths, and they say, oh, I take on other people's energies, I take on other people's thought forms, I go to a party and I have to go home and have a bath and, go underground for a few days. It's because they haven't activated themselves correctly. They've been activated through, casual use of substances, casual sexual activity, exposure to heavy music, that activates them. And so no wonder they feel victimized by the world around them. They just have not activated properly. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to acknowledge this very special organ that's in the Eastern world is acknowledged. Matter of fact, you see Buddhas with a jewel in their forehead. You see Hindus walking around with the bindi painted on their forehead to remind each other, oh yes, you've got this very special jewel. You've got this very special thing that needs to be activated. I'm very thankful for Samuel Sagan to have laid this out, as he says, in a systematic manner to take up a practice day by day to evolve this organ that is sitting there, as Rudolf Steiner calls it on the very first page of Higher Worlds. He says there are dormant powers within us that are waiting for us to activate. So, as you read in this handout from last week, there's different stages or phases of this meditation, a total of 6 altogether. And so far, you've learned the first 3 here in the handout. We're going to practice those in a moment, beginning with working with the larynx. He calls it the larynx of energy, using this throat friction breathing, right? Where you constrict your throat as far down as you can in this area of the larynx to get 2 kinds of vibrations. First of all, you're going to get the more physical vibration that you can actually feel with the, I can feel it physically, but then he also refers to the subtle one, where there's a lighter tingling that's taking place that you wouldn't feel physically, but you can sense it. You can sense it in your body of energy. And that's the one that we want to focus on, the non-physical tingling that takes place. Of course, he stipulates this thing about having your back straight to be in vertical alignment so that the energy can start to move up and down the column and activate other parts of your energy body. And this is going to bring about profound stillness, right? You know, people who try to meditate and they try to still their mind and quiet their mind and wrestle with that, he says here that's futile. But when you start to work with this organ here, it will come naturally. You'll find yourself in states of stillness more profound than you've ever experienced before. Yay. Then the second phase is what he calls the vibration in the eye, where you continue to do this throat friction breathing, but then you add awareness up in the brow, even just between the eyebrows. Actually, where the nose goes up into the skull is where it's between the eyebrows, and that bone actually continues to go up into the center of the brain. So you're sending energy into the brain, into the center part of the brain. He doesn't even talk here about, you know, the physical organs of the pineal gland and the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus. You know, people get into that as the endocrine system that's correlating to the energetic system, but we don't have to think about that so much. We just really want to get down what are the particulars of the practice. So yeah, with the second phase was this connecting between the vibration, the subtle tingling down here, and our awareness up between the eyebrows, and how this throat friction is an amplifier of the vibration that we want to produce up in our brain. Then the third phase is light in the eye. We continue with just this throat friction in the background, but we really put our awareness more up here in the eyebrow. And we're moving from paying attention to the vibration, actually, and now paying attention to light that we might experience in the inner space, right? We have an inner life, we have an inner space, so we may experience light and color in there. And now we want to move our awareness from the vibration to the light and color we may be experiencing. And in doing that, we're actually moving from one body to another, moving our awareness from one body to another. Anybody want to tell me what that's about? The body of vibration is what?
It's up there. It's up there.
Well, we have the physical vibration, but yes, the etheric body is the body of vibration. When we start to experience light and color and motion and so forth, what astral? Very good. Yes, I've laid these out here, as you know.
Jesse,
Yes.
for clarification, I'm always troubled by the concept of putting awareness on the third eye. Does that mean I'm just thinking about that spot, or I'm actually, with my eyes closed, like crossing my eyes and looking up?
No, you don't need to cross your eyes and look up. He doesn't work with that technique at all in
So
clairvision.
it's just bring your awareness to your third eye.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
The difference between having awareness here and then having the awareness here. And he says you can keep some awareness here so that you're activating the subtle tingling vibration, but you're connecting it. You want to connect it up here. So you're kind of creating a linkage between here. This is powerful evolutionary practice to awaken these psychic centers in the brain. So, and he says lastly that a common experience is that you may see tiny shining particles of light in space. You're shaking your head.
I love it. Yeah, whenever I do like breathing exercise, always
Great.
colors.
Colors. Mm-hmm.
Fireworks.
Great. Yeah. So you're dipping your toes into the astral space of colors and motion, and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. But he says that when doing this, these shiny particles of light, that you want to put your awareness on those now. So you've gone from awareness of vibration to awareness of light, and then to these luminous particles, which he says some of them will go straight into your heart and feed your heart. How beautiful that is, feeding ourselves with this precious energy. So yeah, you're going to get another handout, continuation of this to read before Saturday, because we are going to explore some meditation even more deeply. But let's right now.
Can you remind us what pages are for those who are on the book?
Yeah, it's just a continuation in chapter 3 from it's got meditation phase 3, so you're going to do 4, 5, and 6, and then the tips. It's I think almost to the end of the chapter, but I'll post it on the Google Doc. Yeah, to read before Saturday. Let us just do this. Let us just do this. These 3 steps of the awakening the third eye meditation. So get into a nice meditation posture. Quick little pelvic tilt, round the shoulders up and back, chin tuck, little plumb bobbing, closing the eyes, resting the hands. Make sure you're in a comfortable position, and immediately put awareness down into your throat. Do that throat friction breathing, nice and loud, nice and rigorous. The mouth can be open, just relaxed, slack jaw. It's not about breathing through the nose or the mouth. You can do both. It's about awakening the energetic properties of the larynx chakra. Bring your awareness to witness what's going on in that area of the throat, as well as everywhere in your energy. Good and rigorous. You really want to entrain with this. You can reduce it later, but let's really push it like a motorboat. So there's the physical vibration, and you might even take one of your hands, just a couple of fingers, place it on the larynx area, see if you can feel the physical vibration. Do it rigorously enough to feel that physical vibration. You can feel that vibration when you talk or you tone. See if you can do it while you're doing throat friction. Keeping that neck straight, head up, head on top of your spine like a scepter. Now tuning into the more subtle tingling. The more you do this, the more you'll want to sit up straight and just be a natural outcome of this activation. And we're going to move a little more quickly here. We're now going to add awareness in the brows. So between the eyebrows, place awareness there while continuing throat friction. This is phase 2 of the practice. Creating connection between the throat and the brow. And just being aware of any kind of sensations at all, particularly vibration in the brow, maybe some densification. And your whole field may feel a greater stillness. You're learning to access and work more directly with your own energy field. So awareness in the brow. You may find your awareness goes further into the head. You may feel energetic structures within the physical head. And we'll move on to the third phase. And this is awareness of light in the inner eye space. See if you can perceive a sense of light or color, or even those luminous particles of light. Just see what comes as you continue with some awareness, the throat friction, but primarily awareness up in the head and paying attention to the inner space. Increasing our capacity for consciousness. And just releasing any throat friction. We're just going to end off with being in the stillness that we've created. Just being aware inwardly. Just notice how this practice has affected your energy field. Being in gratitude for what little step you may have made on the journey to evolving greater consciousness. And you can raise your palms up, facing upward in this gesture of aspiration, palms towards the heavens, towards the cosmos. A sense of aspiration to higher evolution. Thankful for learning these practices, thankful for practicing together as a group, thankful for the steps we'll be making going forward into our weekend immersion, time together, time for growing, time for deepening, time for getting to know ourselves as beings of body, soul, and spirit, as well as self-knowledge, but where we are on this map of an evolutionary journey. Bringing the palms together, rubbing them to create friction, warmth. Making the palms nice and warm, and then cupping them gently over the eyes, drawing that warmth in. Physical warmth into the eyes and the brain, right down into the heart, sense of soul warmth in the heart, and preparing for spiritual warmth, spiritual fire in our work together this evening. And when you're ready, you can snap the finger of the right hand, signaling to your nervous system you're coming back. Any comments, questions regarding that practice? Experience?
There was a question, there was an activity in the second chapter where they suggest we add a little more humming or vibration. And they suggest that we do that equally on the way in and on the way out. I could not save my life hum on the way in, put it in there.
And you save your life?
I'm like, funny, I couldn't do it earlier, but now I can. You know, too. Like a note to it. It wasn't just a vibration, it had like a note. So that maybe to go later on. That sounds
Learn something new every day. Others. No, he's reading the whole book. Rufus is rebooting. So I'm just giving you excerpts, the most important parts in this special edition of the boot camp with just the one term. But again, I have copies of this if anybody wants to get a PDF for $20. It's one of the best books that I know of for learning to meditate and various practices around that. It's a good modern approach. Yeah, back to the template we're working with of ourselves as a threefold being, body, soul, and spirit. And yeah, we focused a lot. We've been focusing a lot on this lower part here, the body, its physical and etheric component. And we talked quite a bit about the soul, and we're moving towards this upper part of ourselves, maybe the most mysterious part, how to have a spiritual life, how to be a spiritual being with a body. And but before we go there, I want to look at this idea of the soul, where the soul sits. And where does the soul sit? Science has done a lot of work on this over the past couple hundred years, like trying to figure where does the soul sit. But according to this, where does the soul sit? Yes. And
In the middle.
in the middle. Someone else is saying something?
Sorry.
In the middle of what?
I.
Eye?
Yeah.
In the middle between the eye?
That too.
We talked about, this I. The spirit has this I am-ness. I think this is fascinating how, the soul sits in the middle between the physical world, the manifest material world, and the spiritual world. That your soul, your inner life, right? This inner life that we live with every day and experience with. We think we experience with the physical body, but no, we're experiencing life in our soul. We have encounters with our physical body, but we really experience life in our inner life. If you pay attention to that, you'll see this is where you live, is in the soul, as it has encounters outwardly in the physical world, but the soul is also in the spiritual world at the same time. You are in the spiritual world right now. Right now, you're in the spiritual world. You're experiencing the spiritual world in this middle realm of your soul life. This is the part we need to waken up. This is about the spiritual awakening, is to the fact that we're already there. We're already experiencing the spiritual world to some degree. And the soul's work is to really do what Rudolf Steiner calls building a hut. This building of the hut in the middle. Where our inner life goes out into the physical world and has encounters, but then at the same time, it recognizes it's in the spiritual world simultaneously to awaken that realization and to build itself as a space in between. We're going to get into this more on the weekend, more in depth into this as to how we are already living in the spiritual world. And part of this is how we access this way, how we access this way. We can think of this world as being somewhat finite, right? Am I right? We go into the physical world, there's a finiteness to it. So what's the opposite of that? Infinite. Infinite, not finite. Wow. I mean, going that way is infinite? Infinite what? Well, let's look at the question of access. Because when we go out into the world to access information, have experiences, it's really based more on analytical thinking, and logical thinking, and so forth, right? We need this kind of thinking as we go into the world to process our experiences, make sense of them through analytical and logical thinking, rational thinking. And that's what the finite world does for us. You know, we measure things. We measure things, quantify things. That's what science does. You know, this is all about science going into the finite world and measuring it and proportions and all of that. So we're very good at this. The past few hundred years, we've developed our capacity for this way of cognizing to a very large degree. And our universities are very good at training us in these capacities, right? Been there, done that. Got the diploma. And you talk to people that really are focused on this aspect of things. I was talking to somebody last night who was with a friend who's into AI and computers and all of this. And, you know, they just really live in this world of finiteness and numbers and rational thinking. And you refer to anything beyond that, and they get kind of lost. They get kind of nervous. They don't know how, because it's like, whoa, how do you grasp something that's beyond the finite? So how do you grasp something that's beyond the finite? How do you access this end of the spectrum? It's taking us into things they don't teach in university, to into it. I like to put little hyphens in there because that breaks the word down etymologically. We want to get into it, right? Or in spiritation, inspiration, or imagination. These are three different capacities for accessing in the opposite direction, to go into this infinite realm of spirit. And of course, we can go too far in either direction. So this is something to pay attention to in ourselves and in others. We can be overly into this direction. People that are overly analytical, rational, and so forth. And if you don't speak to them in rational terms, they don't get it, because they're overly developed in that direction. Are you overly developed in that direction? Something we're going to consider over the weekend. Or people that are overly in this direction, where they don't really have a grounding in rational thinking. You know, you could sometimes refer to New Agers who really aren't comfortable with rational thinking, and they come with grand ideas that seem spiritual, like, you know, that they talk about no limits, no limits, no limits. Well, there needs to be limits at times. And when you try to challenge that idea, some rational thinking, they get very uncomfortable with that because they feel like they're compromising on their access to this direction. But yeah, it's a danger to be overly developed in either direction.
Jesse,
Yes.
so when you say overly developed, do you mean that there's a certain threshold that just in itself is too far, or are you referring to one being far more developed than the other and rather to imbalance?
That's, yeah. It's good about having both.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes. Took the thought right out of my mind. Which we can do. We can access in a different way through intuition, inspiration, and imagination. What's in other people's minds. That often happens when I'm teaching here and I'm going, okay, what's my next thought? And people will ask the question and it'll pull that next thought in because they're tuned in to, yeah, what's in the spiritual realm, wanting to come through into the material realm. So, one more point I want to make here. In this building of the huts. We want to, the balance is we want to bring more of this down into the material realm. We want to bring more intuitive ideas, inspirational ideas, imaginative ideas down into the finite material world to bring about transformation, healing, upliftment, evolution, all of that. Right? So we're needing to learn how to access in these ways. And that's why we're awakening the third eye. That's why that's part of the training, is to cultivate this kind of access that you probably didn't get in school. So really important to bring more spiritual activity into daily life. And as you awaken the higher organs through awakening the third eye and so forth, you're going to be able to do that. Conversely, what about the other direction? We want to bring more of what we experience and encounter in our daytime life into the night. Ooh. Is that kind of a new concept? Bringing something of your daytime experience into the night?
It happens through dreams anyways. You're talking about Raksha, right? Raksha.
Raksha. Yes, yes, yes. And dreams. Thank you both. Dreams, Dushan, yeah, we're bringing something of an inspiration through the night into the daytime.
Yeah, but we also, it goes the reverse.
Yes.
Something that will live through, in the material world goes somewhere else.
Right, subconsciously, but we're making it more conscious by doing the Raksha. We're digesting our day by going through it in reverse and then taking it up into the night where it gets worked upon in this area that is, for the most part, unconscious. Most people aren't really conscious of what goes on in the night. Lie down in your bed and you're gone. And then in the morning, you might have your little dribbles of dreams. But a lot goes on in the night. And this is going to be a big part of our weekend, immersion together, to work with this trajectory of things, this direction, and to learn how to take things into the night, work on them, and then bring them back into the next day. This is a big part of awakening consciousness, heightening consciousness, and really living our spiritual nature. This is what we want to learn, is how to live our spiritual nature. It's waiting for us beyond a veil of unconsciousness. How to remove some of that veil, make it more conscious, and bring it into our daytime experience. Simple. You see the simple loop that goes on here? So, yeah, we're going to take a break now, but this is something to be thinking about in your own biography, in your own self-knowledge of where are you in this balance? Are you like all up here and kind of scattered and not able to manifest? You just get a lot of dreams and wild ideas and visions and whatnot, but you don't really bring it down to earth? Or are you maybe more the analytical, rational type, and you kind of are intimidated with the idea of opening your mind, opening your soul to inspirations, intuitions, and imaginations, and how to work with them? Maybe you're kind of locked down here in this analytical prison of things and don't know how to get out of it. Okay, so this is something to be thinking about as we move into this weekend and reflect on ourselves. We're going to dive into ourselves on a personal level as well as an archetypal level.
Hey guys, welcome back. So we're gonna continue with a relationships theme. And so far we've been already talking about hormonal balancing. We're not gonna go into there today. We're gonna go more into Mars Venus, which kind of again like we have the basis of hormonal balancing, and that will help us to understand what we're talking about. Okay. So Jesse, that's it. Just said that we're talking about something completely different. So I kind of want to emphasize that we're talking about the same thing. We're talking about awakening. We're talking about spiritual awakening as well. We're talking awakening and evolution, and awakening our unique self. So we're awakening or evolving into more wholeness and into more uniqueness at the same time. So we're evolving more into our consciousness, and that's why I actually wanted to put it here. So again, we're talking about spirit. So with this, the way, I mean, just by living this life at this time, we're allowing more spirit in, and the more we make ourselves in alignment with that, the more of this love energy, source energy we allow through, the more we can open our heart. So the heart, the spirit, that unconditional love, the way I see it, again, it's that union, this the sense of oneness, right? So if you go into your heart, that's where no polarities exist. So that's where that perfect union of Shiva Shakti, of Yin Yang, of feminine masculine, there is no duality in the heart. So that's where the spirit is, right? It's infinite. There's no polarity there, but spirit wants to experience itself. The divine wants to experience, it wants to play. And how it plays? It's playing in this world through our bodies. So it's totally beautiful and perfect as it is. And here we are in our amazing bodies experiencing, where the spirit, the divine experiencing itself with that experience of this is talking of the soul, that combination of like body, mind, spirit, we all of it already. We don't really need to do anything. We just have to remember that we're already there. That's what we're doing here. And awakening all of that unique self, we're awakening more of our different qualities, as we've been talking about. We're awakening more of our authentic self, which means men awaken more of their feminine side, women awaken more of their masculine side. So it gets even more fun. We can express ourselves in all these different ways. You know, like you can create whatever you want now, really. Again, we want to become more. So moving towards more wholeness and towards more uniqueness. So wholeness means I'm kind of okay within myself, right? Not kind of, like I'm whole and complete within myself. So we're whole with that spirit, that union within ourselves. But we're also experiencing more like uniqueness and more of those like different opposite qualities awakening. So it just, evolution towards more complexity as well. So it becomes more complex. So we now having more opportunity to experience joy and love, and what else?
Pain.
And pain, of course, it's a duality. The more we can experience joy, the more we can experience pain. So we just have to become friends with this point. Otherwise, we're just going to keep suffering. So it's like, okay, we gotta maintain both polarities, right? You want to be more, experience more joy. You're going to be comfortable with more pain, being comfortable in discomfort. But I'm going to relationship. Hold on. What did I want to say? So still a little bit about the unique self. That's how we develop in all of these qualities. Now it's nature and nurture. So something we're born with, and something as we're growing up, some parents, surroundings, and society. So all of it influences us in a good way, and of course you can say in a bad way. But again, it's still like the trauma we experience. It also makes us who we are. It also makes us unique. Mm. And again, we even kind of reclaiming a wholeness by going again to the masculine, women going to masculine side, men going to feminine side again, because we want to that inner masculine feminine balance. So it's beautiful step of evolution to become whole within.
But have we gone too far? Have men become too feminine at the expense of our masculinity, and the same for women becoming too masculine at the sense of the sake of their femininity? We need to sort of find our way back into the middle.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. That's exactly where we're going, because you can say it's too far, or maybe it's a perfect way of unfolding things. It definitely gets uncomfortable, right? It's kind of, that's why building relationship or containing relationship in these times are a lot harder, because it's just different. It's a new territory. Yes, we went a little bit too far and we're kind of a bit lost there. So that's how do we go back? But we're actually not going back, we're going forward. So we're going into different type of relationship, hopefully, I think we will. And what David Data called it intimate communion. So it's from codependence, right? That role model. So that's actually the next point. So role mate relationship. That were not that long time ago, right? When women pretty much were just householders and men were just like providers and were stuck in their specific roles, often very patriarchal system, often like women's needs were not considered and things like that. But it was important because it ensured survival and security of a family and a tribe. And now again, as we are evolving, there are more opportunity, and we're looking for more love, emotional connection, personal fulfillment, companionship. So that's why the next step, and where most of us now, not all, but like it's independent. So it was codependent. Now most of us are independent. We're becoming whole within ourselves, and we kind of like, I'm okay on my own. But before we get there, so I wanted to ask you how you feel about that. Like, is there romantic relationship you think ideally would be based just on unconditional love?
No.
Who said me?
No.
No. Good. Okay. Yeah. Good point.
Sure, what's
Yeah.
the question?
In a romantic relation, because so what is love? What is love? Love is that. Okay, I say one thing. Maybe you can say something else. So love is that merging. You become in one, right? That oneness, that experience of oneness. Let's say you look at the flower, you like admiring the flower, you drop in all of your boundaries, you become one with the flower. That-
Like in love ourselves or love in relationship?
That's what I'm kind of trying to differentiate now. Yeah. So there is that unconditional love, right? That experience with the flower would be more like unconditional love. Where we like when we look at the eyes of a baby, or we just dissolve in nature. Yeah.
Your kids.
That's yeah.
You're in love, you don't love unconditionally your partner, but you love it. That's-
Yeah, I'm not saying that. That's exactly a good point. So for love and relationship, we cannot base just on unconditional love, right? We have unconditional love, and we have to understand how we create the polarity love, the conditional love. We have to be okay with that because that's what we're going to be doing. We have to understand the differences and uniqueness and create that love by holding still that spirit, that unconditional love. It doesn't go away, but with that love, you can love everything and everyone, right? But yes, in relationship, we have to also create that. We have to create the polarities and. Mhm.
They view personal relationships as unconditional love, but it's actually unconditional.
Oh, yeah, there's conditions.
Absolutely.
Even with children, there's conditions.
Like,
With
Oh,
my
even
cats,
with children,
I can
right?
Safely say it's like,
Mhm.
I understand what unconditional love is with my dog, no matter what he does,
Uh-huh.
like, I love him.
What about your children before they grew up?
Yeah,
Before
there are
they grow.
conditions I have to
Yeah,
enjoy.
but when they were babies, I don't like it. For me, it was unconditional.
Yes,
But the condition
right,
is
right, but
age.
because they can't speak, when they can start to speak.
Then the condition done.
And that's just being honest, I have to say, observing myself and my relationships and
Mhm.
my past or my growth, it's like, oh, there really are conditions.
So you can
Yeah.
safely
Thank
say,
you for saying it first.
Absolutely.
you can safely say,
Yes,
your kids, not talking about.
yeah,
But if the kids are not doing something that you're expecting and you want them to do, and something that or the kind that you might stop loving them.
no, it's not like that, but there are some conditions, and that doesn't sound good,
Right.
you don't wanna admit that out loud, but there's some aspect of that, that's true.
No, but it's totally okay. It's respecting what we were
Yeah.
talking about here. It's respecting the spirit, holding that unconditional love, and also appreciating the body and the form and the finite nature. And the finite nature is impossible without conditions.
And
So
we
it's
get certain
respecting it,
children too,
yeah.
like they push our buttons and trigger us and our little mirrors that we have to. That's my.
But are you saying you
experience.
withdraw your love when they push your buttons?
It's on a certain level and back me up, but, and it sounds weird to say, but
I feel like you're not talking about like a petty argument, you're talking about something that you know, what
it's
is
not
the
something I
condition,
can
right?
feel or totally understand, but I know there's some layer to it.
Yeah.
There's some layer to it, but no, I withdraw my love, but it's hard to explain.
I think it's a parent, you
Like
can't
when I
just
when I listen to you, I
love
actually-
your children. Carte blanche, you have to be a disciplinarian sometimes too.
And there's still an aspect to love, but there's still some parts of being a human.
like as you're chatting about it, like some people might think like conditional love is like a binary yes, no. But it could be a spectrum.
It's a lot more complicated than
spectrum,
it's
right?
not like I don't love them,
Yeah.
but there's.
Yeah, it is.
The levels.
Oh, go
of
ahead,
love.
Tim.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Unconditional love, just like you said, is on a spectrum. It's like enlightenment.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
enlightenment, you're always trying to get there, but you're never really there. Like you're never gonna
Yes.
completely achieve. You would have to be so wise to have unconditional love to your
Yes.
partner. If they rob you or steal from you or whatever it is, like you're always trying to get there, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's ego,
But
there's
then-
stories, there's baggage, there's.
Then that's
Yeah.
not unconditional.
Well, the unconditional love is who you are, is where you are. It's not what you do. Unconditional love, this is on nature. And everything we do on top, the conditional love, it's okay as well. It's just other part of nature.
Yeah, it's like an
There's also-
undertone.
It's both.
Yeah.
Again, it's
Like,
not one or the
unconditional love
other.
is Like underneath the surface.
Yeah,
They're
Right.
like there, but like people can be annoying and people can be like.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of healers,
Yeah.
the spirit.
But I believe like as long as you're in the physical body, there's always conditions. You have to
Exactly, because of the
learn
form,
and
because
that's
of the
how it is.
finite. Yeah.
Acceptance.
Yeah, compassion, learning how to, yeah.
There's also
Uh-huh.
like codependency disguised as unconditional love.
Mhm.
That's like a pretty
Yeah.
big one too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but then people lie to themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. You know, the idea of unconditional love. Well, first of all, I think what you're talking about is this flux between sympathies and antipathies. I like what my child's doing. I don't like what my child's doing. I like what my child's doing. I don't like what my child's doing. That's the soul reacting, but that's not necessarily love. That's just our emotional response, our really the astral body in its flux between sympathies and antipathies. The thing about unconditional love is, are we loving a person because we want something egotistically? Or are we loving them because we want to give them something? That to me is the difference. Unconditional is that I'm going to love you no matter what you're doing. I'm doing it for you. I'm not doing it for me. But most love is egotistical. It's like I'm loving you, or I'm giving you something because I want something in return. And that's what Brooke was saying, you know, most love is really just codependence. It's like, I need something. I need you to like me. So I'm pretending to love you, but it's egotistic. It's egocentric love. It's not, that's the difference to me. Unconditional is that I'm loving you no matter what. I'm not expecting anything in return. You know, I will give you this and no strings attached.
Where did I start?
Yeah.
Even moved beyond one slide.
What's that?
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I'm saying, what did I start?
This is really good. So I
It
think
is a
this
good
really,
discussion.
really important to get to a higher love.
Higher love, that's what we're talking about,
Your
yeah.
definition of unconditional love, because I think there's unconditional love we can have for a person. But I think in a spiritual sense, developing unconditional love should be for all
Yeah,
creation, all
Oh, yeah.
humanity,
I
all
think
general-
how I think how I understand
It
that
should be.
it's
Yeah.
where we are, it's your being, it's from within, it's connecting to your heart and feeling it. And when you feel it, you love everything around you, and like you see the beauty in everyone. And sometimes it's easier when you look at the baby or the flower, and sometimes it's harder if you look at your partner who just offended you or something, right? So, and again, like holding those two things, like unconditional love at the same time as also understanding that we are humans and we get hurt and we hurt each other and we have egos and we have layers of trauma and like so yeah.
I think that people like, I personally, I think that the concept of unconditional love isn't towards like, oh, my mother or my child or, you know, my best friend or like whatever. I actually think that is like conditional. I love this person because it's my mother. That's the condition. You know, I'm gonna love her forever because she's my mother. No matter what.
But not all
That's
conditions are bad.
conditional.
It's
She's
not
my
like
mother.
yeah.
But unconditional love is not like conditional on the relationship with the person, and it's not
It's a fact.
conditional on the personality of the
Exactly, conditional.
person. It's just something that exists beyond personality, beyond like relationship.
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah, it's your being. Mhm.
Yeah, and that it doesn't matter who it is, but it's like I think
It's the way
I think
you
it's
are.
the unconditional love of spirit. Like recognizing that it's a spirit, not a personality.
And you love unconditionally, you love yourself.
That's it. Yeah.
If
Great
you love
question.
yourself,
I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
Can you love
Have to include yourself,
unconditionally?
too.
You love yourself.
I think it's
And it starts
I
there.
think following the point that it's not like an enlightenment, that unconditional love is not the degree we get and okay, I got degree in unconditional love, right? Or I got degree in enlightenment.
Yeah.
It's the process. So when you exit that space, and I'm sure we'll did exit that space of like pure love, then you cannot see yourself with conditions. Yeah, you can see like, oh, maybe I'm this and that, but you still love yourself. So in that state, that's the state of being. The unconditional love to me is state of being where you love, of course, yourself and others. Because yeah, if you hate yourself, you cannot love others.
But it's still a process, and there's still the levels and the nuances. It's like you still love yourself, and there's some parts and some days and some.
Yeah.
So it's not 100% unconditional.
No, it's like how much in alignment we are with the spirit. So the more we're in alignment with the heart and with the spirit, the more unconditional love we can feel, we can channel, we can.
And as we're
feel.
more enlightened, we can even love the terrible things that because we know that it's benefiting us or it's bringing us into more.
Exactly. That's why.
But we're still going to keep fluctuating and keep growing and keep learning and keep being in awareness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like for me, like I think my definition is like anything we can do for more for others than we do for ourselves for some weird reason. It's just like I see this pattern over and over again. You can help somebody more than you would do for yourself. I don't know why that is. It's sort of easier to help someone than to do the same thing for themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Well, sometimes, like I've not always like resonated with it, but there are lots of spiritual teachings that say, yeah, if you feel really bad that you cannot pull yourself out and get in alignment with the spirit, start where you can. Start with service. If you start with service, start helping others, that will get you there as well. But it doesn't, yeah. So there is that path, the path of service. Yeah.
Karma yoga.
Karma yoga, yeah. But hey, where was I going with all of that? That's such a great discussion. So yeah, let's keep.
Independence to independence.
Thank you. Yeah.
Is it independence or interdependence?
Well, we'll get into interdependence. So that's the next. That's the third level. That's where we're trying to get. But most of us now in independence. So we're kind of whole and complete. But often what happens in relationship because of that, so it's kind of like 50-50 equal relationship, the passion is lost. And the passion is lost, why? Because like you guys playing with the magnets, yeah? Yeah.
Polarity.
So polarity, exactly. So can you feel with the magnets? So the opposite attracts. If you put the same ones, try to put put the same, they repel. Now if you push the same too hard, one of the poles gonna switch. That's an interesting dynamic too, and that actually what happens with people as well. So again, if we let's say if a woman stuck on her masculine, not stuck, but like okay, that's the world we live in, right? Like I'm at work, we need to be in my masculine, I'm expressing my masculine sides, whatever. But then what kind of man be attracted? Maybe a very feminine man, right? So initially, maybe it's pretty nice, there's still polarity, there's still attraction, but the closer you're gonna get, the woman will start dropping her masculine because remember oxytocin and all of that? So with the connection, women become more feminine automatically. She drops the masculine, she connects with her feminine, and if the guy still at the feminine, they gonna repel. So that's what happens. That's one of the scenarios. We can come up with more of the scenarios, what's happening. Or the opposite of the feminine man can flip a feminine woman into the masculine. So it happens. Yeah. That also doesn't feel good. So things like that. So creating and sustaining the passion or even attracting that, like it's not automatic. So my point is like we can learn how to do it and how support again those masculine and feminine sides in ourselves and in each other. So specifically in the relationships, how we can do it. So complementary opposites attract, right? So and that's the secret to lasting passion.
Opposite attracted. Sometimes the thing that's the opposite of what this lots of couples, friends. The thing that's the opposite that attracts you in the first place ends up being the thing that drives you crazy.
That's exactly, that was actually my point somewhere in the slides too, that because they attract sexually, right? So it creates that polarity, the sexual chemistry created by those opposite sides. But as friends, you're gonna drive each other crazy, yeah, because it's you're gonna learn love through that. So this way briefly talked about before, masculine and feminine qualities, and remember they are grounded in biology, so it's not just social construct. Expressing more of the feminine qualities will stimulate more oxytocin and estrogen production. Expressing more of the masculine qualities will stimulate more of testosterone production. So again, the feminine would help women with their balance and come back to their feminine and rejuvenation and all that like health stuff. And as you know already, the testosterone, of course, is really important for men. That again, that's just a brief review. We talked that if we stuck on the opposite side, so for women and masculine, men or feminine, eventually cortisol will be produced too much, right? So if we keep staying there, we're gonna keep getting burned, especially for women. That's a big one these days. Because again, the switch back doesn't happen automatically. Okay, so let's see how we can. Let's say you're in a relationship, right? And that's how we can help a man to get more on his masculine side, and like in the specific situation, but also overall, like if we're supporting this side through specific behaviors, he'll be creating more like testosterone, he'll feeling better, and of course, like the woman will be feeling better as well because of that. So characteristic of masculine side, so independent is very masculine, right? So what she can do, what a woman can do to support that: don't give unsolicited advices. I'm just gonna read some. If you have some comments, if you have some stories, feel free, bring them up. The benefit received: he feels trusted to make his own decisions and take credit for his success. Right.
And by the way, we're going to put this up available on the Google Doc, right? So people can download the slides and yeah, I encourage you to go through. There's a lot of work Glennis put into this details. So
Right.
I can't even read it myself.
Okay, yeah.
It'll be available in the next couple of days.
Okay, so the next one is detached. So detached, of course, we're talking about cave time a lot. Remember that. So taking cave time without her disapproval, very important, right? So he can process his thoughts, his feelings, and actually she would benefit because he's not going to be processing those thoughts with her, and yeah, creating this balance. Problem solver. So that can be even the Venus talk. She can let him know like that by listening to her, he's already solving the problem. He doesn't need to do anything else. And I'm sure the man will be like, great, I'm already solving the problem, right? You just listen. And he feels successful, understanding her needs, and he can be more relaxed. Next characteristic of the masculine: tough. So he needs to be admired. He needs to be admired for his hard work and sacrifice, specifically, right? Hard work and sacrifice. And admired means like actually say things. Like you can, of course, show the admiration in other ways, but saying, I think maybe often we don't express with words enough our appreciation or admiration. So he accesses his inner power, and she can express herself without fear of offending him. She's tough, so she doesn't need to walk on the eggshells around. The next masculine quality is competitive. Again, for masculine especially, it's very healthy. Limits, but his success is celebrated. Again, we're talking about personal relationship, because like outside of the personal relationship, you can express all of the qualities, but when you come back, you want to be nurtured, right, in your personal relationship. So that's how you nurture kind of each other. So his success is celebrated and his effort is appreciated, even if he fails. Yeah, very important that there is no like complaints and blames. The benefits received: he's more willing to appreciate others and even ask for help when he needs it. Is it hard to ask for help, guys? Yeah. No? No? I don't know.
Got a yes over here.
They have GPS now, they don't have to ask.
Right.
Yeah,
I think every guy's
he
gonna
does
be
it.
hard to ask for help. I'd say. Masculine guy.
Every guy?
Most
Most masculine guys? What do you mean most masculine? Like,
masculine guys don't ask for help.
That's because they don't need it.
That's what they think.
they need help learning to ask for
Masculinity
help.
is not always a good thing,
That's true.
Good.
at least I'm not sure that's right.
I guess the toxic masculine side of masculinity, when you think you have to do it all yourself.
Mm.
Great. But
You also
most
argue-
guys are taught, great.
You also argue like the way we're talking, studying right now, well, masculinity equals toxicity in a way, like it's not encouraged, it's not embraced.
That's a very good point. That's kind of where I get a bit stuck there, that women on the masculine but masculine in men kind of getting, like it's considered toxic, which is not. Like, look at all these qualities. You can say they're toxic, competitive, tough, right? Detached, independent, but they're actually really good qualities for masculine. As long as like we have to remember they are in balance now. We already are balanced. Moses. So analytical. She gives supportive comments to his analytical thoughts process. So for women, very important to learn some very complicated phrases like "good job." You're right. Makes sense. How
You're
hard?
my hero.
How hard is that? You're my hero. That's a next level one. Yeah. It's like and that makes him actually more interested in what she says, and even to admit his mistakes. Powerful. He needs to be asked for his help and celebrated for his support. So the benefit received, this creates a greater sense of meaning for him. Of course.
Is there any women that follows this rule?
These are not rules. These are not rules. That's what you can do in relationship. That's what you can do in relationship to support each other.
I agree, but do they, is it really?
No, it's not for they and for them. We're starting with ourselves.
Yeah, that's when we have a common understanding for the most part. When he's accomplished something, he knows that he likes to be praised for it. So he'll come and ask me, "Oh, come and see what I did. Look what you did." I mean, that's just one small example, but we know what we each need. And here, come look what I did. You did a great job. Amazing thing.
Right. Or let's imagine the opposite scenario. He does that, or he has some idea about, oh, I know how I'm gonna like make more money or whatever, and the woman says I know better. I already came up with the plan. Like we're gonna do this, and that. So and let's go. Like how it's gonna make you feel? Like if you're
sometimes I
right.
do that too. Like I'm aware of these things.
You still do that, right?
Sometimes I know what he does wrong. I know what I do right. Like,
Right. So it's awareness. You
It's
can,
balance too.
yeah,
Balance of it.
you can
It does,
you can
it
catch
does.
yourself doing those things, and then
Yeah, no, I'm seeing it. I think it's also important that like I think there's like a collaboration in this as well.
Yeah,
It's
we're
not
gonna
like
go
an
to feminine.
expectation. It's like
Yeah.
like there's communication involved.
Mhm.
Guys can nurture this together.
Absolutely, yeah.
I expect my woman to treat me this way. It's like.
No, it's just like really good reminders, and again, we'll do it for the feminine as well, and then in couple you can work together on cultivating that. It's again, it's not automatic for us. That's why we're doing this. It's not automatic.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like, all this stuff is great, but I've never been trained to not expect any of those things ever.
You're already not expecting that, but it makes you sad, no?
No, I just don't expect it. It's just that's.
No, but no, wouldn't you rather if your woman
of course.
appreciates you and
But-
admires you and expresses it?
It would be amazing, but
So
You're expected because it's part of the culture or because of the experience?
it's the way I was raised. You gotta be man. You gotta be strong. You just gotta get shit done. That's it.
Did you ask for it, or with education, or reading books, or
I guess I could ask for it, but I don't. I'm expecting now. I'm good. Like,
Mm.
I'm happy. Yeah. Like, it's,
But you can be happier.
No, I just thinking.
What you thinking, Ruben?
I don't know. I just thinking.
Go ahead.
Like I don't know, maybe a lot of stuff we do. A lot of people may or may not appreciate. I don't know.
Hmm?
You know, I don't think I look for compliments.
You're not looking for appreciation?
Yeah, I don't think so. Like if it comes, it comes. And if not,
Mhm.
I kind of agree.
It's nice.
It's nice, especially in relationship, right? I think in the social situation, men don't look too much for it. It's kind of like, but in a personal situation, it feels good when your woman can see it and appreciate it, right? Like it's, yeah,
And sometimes we condition ourselves to go, I'm okay with it, but really.
right, because it's
inside,
painful
we
not,
really
so you
like
have
it,
to
or
be
you
like,
hold consent,
yeah.
Or we separate because you don't even realize what is being withheld or not given to each other.
yeah, it's almost like what else is possible. So we're opening up to more now, right? So kind of like,
And you said the transition from role mates to soulmates, but there's still something of the role mates and the soulmates if you're gonna decide, like I'm gonna give you compliments and we're gonna work this way. We're gonna feed each other
yeah,
on the level of ego as well as physical feeding. Like let's play those roles. Like part of life is acting and deciding that you're going to be a certain way. A lot of my life is just a decision to be a certain way to feed people, unconditionally. So I play a role, and I think this is tough because a lot of women, I guess men too, they don't want to be pigeonholed into stereotypical roles of the past where like men don't do dishes and they don't change diapers and women they
Pink jobs and blue jobs.
pardon me.
Pink jobs and blue jobs.
Right.
Yes, exactly. So they don't want to be put into these roles, but we still need to decide more consciously on roles. Like I'll feed your ego because I want to build you up. I want to make you feel good about what you're accomplishing, and it's not like selling myself out to the feminist, from the feminist movement by complimenting a man on something.
right.
Some of
So
it's biological.
yeah, so
Not that I'm interested, but is there a list of what men should do?
yeah, we'll get there maybe at some point.
Same-sex maybe we do. Yeah. So,
Yeah, good question, but.
well, same-sex relationship is, what is men do? What are the
Oh, in same-sex relationships? Oh, then usually it's still one polarity, one takes another polarity. Yeah, so it's
the same.
it would be
more or less
similar.
rule.
Yeah, they probably would have to play it out in their own unique way. Again, you can.
Well, it's a conscious roles again. People
Mhm.
deciding what roles they want to do consciously and
Yes.
not like just default to blue roles and pink roles.
Exactly. Or like in independent relationship, like let's say like what you decide, okay, I wash dishes every other day, I cook every other day, and I take a mouse out of a trap every other day. Like no, you still want like women do some things, men do other things. So but now maybe it's not that black and white and you have to decide among yourself. Maybe you really like take mice out of there, so then it's okay. But most often not, right? There's still more like feminine kind of duties and responsibilities and more masculine.
Well, I gotta be conscious now.
We gotta be conscious, yeah, because it's not automatic. So we're like babies learning now again, and then it will become automatic one day, maybe for next generation.
And it's the 4Ds again, decide you're gonna be this, and then you'll have the desire to do it. And you don't do it resentfully. The decision, desire, details, deliverance. I could decide I'm gonna be this way in a relationship and then fall in love with being that way.
Right. Yeah. And again, as we're working with more subtle levels that we'll get a little bit later, like I'll talk more about David Data's, it's when we're sensitive enough to our deep core of deep masculine and deep feminine, if you can stay really grounded in your heart and feel into your woman's heart or your man's heart, you can forget all of that. But not a lot of us can do that. So that's why it's good to learn this and also try to feel into each other's heart as much as we can. So let's finish this list. We have a couple more points there. Are we good with
I just got like 5 minutes.
we didn't start on time.
We started it at 9 and it's almost 4 to 10.
Okay. Oh, it's okay, we'll continue.
Yeah, you continue.
So accountable. He needs his mistakes to be minimized and apologies accepted. I think you, Jesse, started to talk about something how to apologize. So that would be a good one here. But the most important to accept apologies without blaming back or like creating the whole story, because for women, like it's often sorry is not the end of the conversation, where for men sorry is the end of the conversation, right? For women it's like, oh, just starting
And keep track.
and keep track and remember. Yeah. We have like, yeah, we have long memory.
And then after a while, it all explodes at once,
Yeah.
right? Remember then, and you remember then, it's, the man's going, what? No, I don't remember this. That was 1987.
Right, you'll remember for all that time. It's like well, but if woman knows how to accept apologies, he apologizes for his mistakes and strives to be a better partner. Yeah, goal-oriented. He needs to be able to plan things. She can give options, so the ideal scenario, she can give options what she wants to do or about her desires, and he plans. So that he can take credit for the success and she can feel cared for. Yeah, because how we feel love, again, generalizing, but men feel love more by being appreciated and admired, right? And women more for like being cared for and supported and seen and heard. That's like a big one. Then generalizing them.
What about being told how amazing they look?
Yeah, that's very important. Yeah. So yeah, complimenting. So we can think like that. So complimenting a man for his masculine qualities and complimenting a woman for her feminine qualities, that would be like the best compliment. Yeah.
Just to recap what he had said last time, he was taking us into contemplating duality in nature, right? I mean, how wonderful it is. Our spiritual development is about going into the body, going into the senses, going into the world, and contemplating the simple, profound duality of nature. Things that are growing, thriving, flourishing, and things that are withering, dying, decaying. What's more fundamental than that? But he's saying if you do that, the period of the one and the period of the other, you're going to cultivate capacities for higher consciousness. Should all just go home and do that, right? And see where that takes you. Instead of thinking about it or, ignoring it or whatever, to do it. We have to bring our senses to it with thought and then engage our feelings. And of course, this takes will. And we have weak will in the Western world. We're used to having things done for us, given to us, just channel hopping on Netflix and whatnot. If you want to develop your spirit, you need to bring will into the world and how you connect to the world. So that was last week. So this week, he brings us into the world of sounds. I know some of you are into sound. We've got Sparkle the Sound Man here. He's got a sound mind. Because that's what he does all day, is listen and record. But Rudolf Steiner makes a distinction between inanimate objects making a sound, like a gong, yes, as opposed to an animate object, such as a puppy, an animal, yes, birds, humans, things that are alive, sentient beings. So he wants us to focus on the second, the animate sounds made from animate things. And when we do that, he again divides it into two things. We're going to have our emotional response to it, right? Like, ooh, that's kind of unpleasant to hear the sound of two cats fighting. Ugh. You know, you've ever awakened in the middle of the night to hear cats screeching and fighting. We have our emotional response to that. It's like, ooh, that's unpleasant. Or maybe the sound of a cat purring. We have our personal emotional response to that. It's like, oh, that's pleasant. I enjoy that. So that's sympathies and antipathies, right? Sympathy is when we're open, we like something's attractive. Antipathy is when we don't like it, it's repelling, and so forth. That's our emotional response. But really, he wants us to enter into the experience of the other, to go beyond your personal emotional response, get out of yourself and get into the experience of the other. And this is really hard. This is, you know, when you have a weak will, you're just living in your own little soul realm. You're really in the prison of your own soul rather than building a hut that allows you to go out into the world and then to connect spiritually to it through empathy, right? Empathy is the thing that allows us to go beyond our sympathies and antipathies, beyond the prison of our own little emotional responses and our petty opinions around things. Empathy is to be able to enter into the experience of another animate being that's having their experience. That's really where the work is. And this is fantastic that our spiritual development can come through that sort of thing. We don't have to even necessarily meditate. This is just learning to develop a feeling for things out in nature, outside of ourselves. And he says a new faculty will develop as a result. A new faculty of soul and spirit. We learn to hear with our soul, and the spiritual world begins to whisper secrets, things that we would miss otherwise because we're just flipping around in our mind with our own opinions and responses. This is where most people are at. And it's really quite sad to see people that are just enclosed in their own little egocentric world and cannot see beyond that, and how puffed up they are in their ego, thinking that their experience is everything. But it's actually quite finite. It's as finite as they are, because they don't know how to extend beyond themselves. Furthermore, he says that our own opinions will begin to quiet down. When you practice this, you'll find that your own opinions will be flipping up into your mind as readily. And so, yeah, this becomes a practice. This is a practice that you can, if you're not there already to some degree, you can begin to make a decision at different times when you're faced with something or someone or their ideas that you simply silence. You simply silence yourself inwardly and listen deeply outside of yourself to what is there. He says this skill is extremely important, and maybe you can get it, how it is going to allow us to open the roof of our soul and to begin to allow intuitions and inspirations and imaginations or visions to flow into us. He says this is learning to listen selflessly. Selflessly doesn't mean that the self isn't there. It means that the activity of yourself has been quieted down. Furthermore, it's learning to hear beyond words into another person's soul. And that's another thing that trips people up. They hear a word and it just flips a switch in their mind and they got the response and they're off with the response. They didn't hear. They just heard a word that triggered something. We want to hear beyond words. We want to read beyond words. This is why reading How to Know Higher Worlds is a terrific exercise. It may seem a little arcane in the way things are written. You know, he's not Eckhart Tolle or, you know, Joe Dispenza, you know, people who are alive today. This was over 100 years ago. But it's an exercise to get to the thought, to get to the idea that's being expressed. He's definitely expressing an idea. Can you get the idea by not getting hung up on the words and figuring out what he's trying to say? It's going to expand your consciousness. And with this, you begin to perceive with your spirit, and the inner word awakens. Hear the inner word to get what's the real word in the space, and not the words on the page or coming out of somebody's mouth. And lastly, he says that it's very beneficial to spend time reading and listening to the words of spiritual and esoteric researchers like himself, people that have done the work, people that have gone there, people have gone deeper into spirit land, to listen to their words, feed off of those words, because they are living inspirations. They're bringing through life, spiritual life, through the words, through the inspirations that they're speaking. And those words are spiritually alive. Maybe you've experienced that. Maybe you know that when you listen to someone who is a real inspired spiritual teacher, as compared to, you know, some talking head on the news, reading off a monitor. Is that living inspiration? Does that feed you? Does that make you feel alive? Feel the difference. One is alive, one is dead. One is like a plant flourishing, the other one's like a plant kind of withering. You can feel the difference when you come alive within yourself. You'll know how some things just feel dead and without nutrition, without inspiration. So yeah, be fed from the words and inspirations of true spiritual researchers. And out of that substance, you'll not only be fed, but you'll be built. You'll be able to fashion your inner life, just as he says, nature has fashioned us outwardly. Our eyes and ears have been fashioned out of nature, out of this, you know, the substance of this world. We're going to fashion spiritual eyes and ears out of the substance of ideas and inspirations and experiences that have been digested and then integrated. Any questions? Any additions? Group.
I think that's about active listening with stillness. I feel like that's one really good way to access intuition that you have with them.
Active listening with stillness. Bingo, bango.
Access intuition. Your intuition practice is the head for
Yes. Say it again with the first thing you said was active listening
active listening
with stillness.
Deeply with stillness is a great way to access your intuition faculty.
Yeah. And we're going to practice this on the weekend. Practice, practice, practice. Yeah, really looking forward to this weekend. So let me turn my attention to some of that. The only handout you're going to get tonight is at the door there. It's more of the awakening the third eye. So take that and read that before Saturday. I'll give you a handout on Sunday for the next excerpt from Higher Worlds, but we won't give you that now. And yeah, so this weekend, Saturday, starting at 1 o'clock, not arriving at 1 o'clock, starting at 1 o'clock and going till about 9 o'clock. And don't plan anything after that, because you've got some home play. It's really about going home and being in silence. Go home, and if you live with somebody, tell them you're going to come home and you're going to be in silence, because you're going to get home, you know, after 9, you're going to be in silence and do some home play. And then you're going to be back here Sunday morning at 9:30, bright and early, and you're going to arrive in silence. So you're basically going to be in silence from 9 o'clock in the evening till about 10 o'clock next morning, where we learned this practice of taking things into the night and bringing it, milking it down the next morning. So I had somebody a couple of waves back. I said, you know, you're going to go home. You're going to be in silence. This is part of the weekend immersion. It's part of the program. He didn't do that. He went out with his buddies and whatever. Next morning, driving here, gets pulled over by the police and gets a big ticket. Like,
For what?
talking on his phone. He wasn't supposed to be talking at all, let alone talking on his phone while driving. Yeah. So, you know, Spirit knows you're part of the program. It knows what the curriculum is, it knows what the plan is. So stay with the program. It's the best place to be to learn and grow and keep out of trouble. So yeah, Sunday's going to go from 9:30 until about 5. We're going to end promptly at 5 because over in Trinity Bellwoods Park, there's the drum circle, which I love to go to, so we can catch the last hour and hang out afterwards, jamming and stuff like that. So if you want to join that when we close at 5 on Sunday, that would be great. And also come rested. So you might even consider not going to the bars Friday night and getting all drunk and whatnot. But, you know, prepare for this weekend. Like we're already into the flow of things for this weekend. So we can bring down individually and collectively some really great stuff, self-knowledge and self-development. So yeah, come rested, come comfortable clothing, and come with a little bit of food for a shared supper on Saturday and a shared lunch on Sunday. Don't eat a lot of food. Don't want you to eat a lot. We're going to be doing practices and meditation and things. So it's good to be on the lighter side. Any questions about that? Good. Well, yes, light clothing. Yeah, my preference is to wear colors that are vibrant rather than dark colors that are not as vibrant, because we're trying to raise the vibration in a very heavy, dense world, and colors are very powerful for that.
Any yoga
Yes, on Sunday.
on Sunday?
Mhm.
Bring the yoga mats and stuff.
We haven't. do
No.
we
We
not?
could have enough downstairs.
Yeah, we'll talk. But no, you don't need to bring yoga mats.
Do we have enough?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
So let us then close with some chanting
Sound?
and
Like chanting or Satnam?
whatever you want. Let me see. Andrew,
Yes,
when we finished with the chanting, would you read the verse? You haven't read the verse yet.
not yet, no.
Okay. And we're really wanting to exemplify good recitation. Standing up is a good idea. So use all your vocal apparatus
All right.
from your anus to your mouth.
Been waiting.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I know. I've been practicing, don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. So wait, let's. Do you want the guitar?
No, we'll
No,
do
okay.
Satnam today. So, well, not jazz, because Satnam, it's a beautiful mantra. It's connecting to a true self. So let's finish night with this mantra. Long Sat and then short Nam. We'll do it 3 times. And Satnam means I am truth. Bring palms together. Sit up nice and tall. Gently press on your sternum. Let's take a couple deep breaths first. And take a deep inhale to start. Sun. Sun.
Body, soul, and spirit contemplation. Body, soul, and spirit. Threefold am I. One gives encounters to outer realms, another to source of all creation. The soul in the center as weaver of worlds. I embody the spirit. I inspirit the body. I experience both in my soul. May I bring into balance threefoldness of being, body, soul, and spirit for greatness and doing. Lovingly connected to the world around, lovingly connected to spiritual heights, lovingly connected to the allness of life through the heart of my being.